My name is StardomJ, and I wanna look at a game I played 3 days ago in real life, a slow over-the-board game at one of my clubs against a guy named Vincent. Now I was white. I played a English, which won't surprise too many people who know me. So my opponent knight f6, one of the main moves. Knight c3, and my opponent went for e6. And if you've watched the last game I reviewed, which is up on YouTube, well, I don't own clubs. I go to 2 clubs. So this at this moment this might look like the last game I reviewed. Where the opponent in that game went for d5. This opponent was a little more laid back, gave me a little more time. I go to 2 chess clubs, but also not. I don't really go to other clubs. So I mean, if my opponent was not interested in taking the center, I was gonna go take the center. Do I go where the girls are? No, I'm scared of girls. So no. My opponent played bishop e7. Which, I mean, it seemed a bit passive to me. Obviously, he wants to go castle, but like he's really giving me like these pawns uncontested for the moment. I think he's just being quite passive. So engine already says go for e4, go take the entire center, and yeah, I mean, this makes sense. I also played maybe a little passive. I mean, I want to get this bishop here anyway at some point. So he castled. And again, I should have taken the center. I think I considered it. I decided, you know, I don't want to leave this king out here too long. So also preparing to castle. And there's also very little wrong with this move. The way he is looking at our chats, Lel? You mean like that my face goes over here? Yeah, I have a white monitor, so yeah, you can see me looking to the edges of the monitor a little bit. So he finally decides to something like that, but not quite. So finally, my opponent decided to go take the center. If you know me, you know I rarely play gambits. I always like feel like, and maybe I feel this a bit too much. That, you know, a better position is temporary, but if you have more material, that's more material. So yeah, I'm trying to maybe get a bit rid of thinking like that. It's also, I'm like never sure how much activity a pawn is worth. Well, it's probably gonna be a beer at some point. It's still early. So, given what I just said, you can probably guess that I decided to gambit here. Of course, black is attacking this pawn now, which is not defended, and the engine says go defend that pawn or go take that pawn. I decided to just castle, temporarily giving up 2 pawns. Of course, he takes. The engine does not like what I did next. It liked it a move earlier, but I went here. Okay, and engine says this is really bad. Minus almost 1. So, but by the way, what it is right now, it is T. It is suit out, sweet wood, something like that. So he takes another pawn. Another pawn bites the dust. So, I mean, you might think that rook here is just a pin on the knight. But of course, if I do this, he can just take here with check. So, I mean, it's still a reasonable move. It's the move I considered most back when I decided to castle. I took a long time deciding on the castle move. That was the move where I was like, will I go for this? And I saw what would happen. It is the best move according to the engine. Again, it is a good move, but not what I decided to go for. Decided to go take that knight first. And so we're still down 2 pawns, but now we have a queen that's out too much of the position. So basically 2 moves to consider, either bishop out or rook out. And it's kind of, the question is, where don't you want the black queen to end up? And I decided that I kind of did not like the queen to be able to go to c5. Therefore, bishop out. So, and yeah, of course, black will not be able to keep on defending this pawn. So, in the end, I will be down only 1 pawn. There are actually a couple of spots the black queen can hide. Like if he goes to g4, just bishop here, and queen has to go here or something. Anyway, can't keep on defending this pawn. So where did he go? He went to d7. I don't know if he hoped for queen trade, but obviously don't trade queens here. Just go grab the pawn. Just as I say, obviously don't trade queen. The engine all of a sudden made it the best move for just a little bit. Ah well, this looked decent to me, and yeah, this was kind of the position where I'm like, is this worth a pawn? I mean, my bishops are good. My rooks can get out. Like this bishop is stupid, and this bishop being stupid makes this rook stupid, and apparently it's not worth a pawn according to the engine. So my opponent played the only move to keep the advantage, c6. Of course, weakening this bishop, giving an escape square for the queen. Guess it makes some sense. I'm gonna grab the open file, and I really expected queen c7 here, given also the last move of c6. Instead, my opponent played knight d5, which, now we have options. Now we have this pinned piece in the center of the board. Let's see if we can do something with it. So obviously, being able to play e4 would be pretty good. So this bishop has to go. question is, where do we want this bishop to go? We could go here, trade the bishops, which I kind of didn't like. We could also go here, which has kind of the issue that that you can't play queen g4 anymore, which you might be very useful at some point. In fact, you could also even play it here, perhaps now, but yeah, that didn't seem like. Engine also likes bishop d4, which I've briefly considered. Of course, the issue with bishop d4 is that you are the one breaking the spin at the moment. So I went with the one move the engine did not like, bishop f4. And yeah, the engine says black should like go harass my king or move the queen out of the pin. Or yeah, move the queen out of the knight pin. Instead, my opponent decided to try to break the pin by putting another piece in between, so that now the knight could move once more. And all of a sudden I have the advantage. If I find the one engine move. So, I mean, you can see the engine move, but did this, now we're having a bit of a complicated situation where like everything is attacking everything. And also there's still this going on. You like taking twice and winning the bishop. How would you do that? So I mean, so obviously things like e4, well, obviously things like e4 don't work anymore. I decided to take with this bishop. Oh, thank you, Goat. Thank you for that great analysis. So the idea being that if he takes my bishop now, oh right, we don't even. Why did I think we had to desperado? We don't have to desperado. We can just move the bishop back and attack the queen and bishop. I was just thinking about this from a distance, which just wins back our pawn, because he pretty much is forced to take with the queen, and then I take this bishop, and we're equal pawns. I'm slightly better in development, even though I have a knight for this bishop. Of course, I completely did not have to go for this. I could just move the bishop back, and I hope that I would have seen this if it came up, but that's what I saw from a distance. So, but my opponent did not take the bishop. He decided, which pawn did he take with? Yes, c takes. And again, I have the advantage if I play the one move, and otherwise I'm just lost. And I played the one move. I mean, obviously this was the idea when I took the knight in the first place. Also, and then there was still the question of with which to take first. What would have happened if I took here? Okay, so this is just completely worse for me. All right, because I don't have check at the end. Like, yes. Anyway, where are we? There. This is what happened in the game, and I took here, which seemed a bit risky, but I had hoped that after this bishop was just, or hoped, I calculated I calculated, and I hoped I calculated correctly, that in this situation, black would simply lose the bishop. And so we'd actually be up a pawn. But that's not what my opponent went for. My opponent decided to just give away the game here. Which, I mean, to be fair, he did find a move I completely hadn't looked at. So that's something. But yeah, just takes. I'd actually, before I saw that taking bishop was completely winning, I also looked at this, which is also just, I mean, here we are equal material, but like these pawns are horrible. So I actually saw that this was a winning endgame, but of course we have something far better than this desperado check, and that's just taking the bishop, because now this rook is under attack and we're just up the exchange and the pawn. I think he did. No, he actually took the knight. And I mean, yeah, this is just a super winning endgame. You still gotta play it, of course, if the opponent decides not to resign, which he didn't, not yet. So he decided king up. Did he decide king up here? Let me check my notes. No. He decided to go here for a moment. I even briefly considered e4 to open the rooks up, but like, why take risks? So instead, just simply e3, getting my pawns on the dark squares where the bishop can't see them. So my opponent was, I think, a bit scared about me coming in here, trapping his king on the back rank, so he decided to move up. I checked, he moved here, and I went there, which has two ideas. I'm either gonna go here and take this pawn, or I'm gonna go here and take this pawn. And you can defend one of them, but not the other. And now the game went on 38 moves, says Code. I think you are kind of wrong there, because there, rook d4. Well, sorry, I write in Dutch notation. So T or for toren, T d4, and then he resigned. It's 1-0. And my opponent was upset enough that he did not speak. Like he just knocked his king over. And I said a little bit, you didn't have to do that with the queen c6, I think. And he was just staring at me. I was like, hey, wanna look at the game? And he was and I mean, I can respect it. I've been upset enough after games that I definitely didn't want to look at them. I've always been able to talk. Yeah, Starry Night. Anyway, unfortunately, I had bought him a drink earlier and he didn't repay it because he just stormed out. But I mean, he didn't like shout or something. So yeah, I mean, I can respect people being upset. I think he may have thought that he was just completely winning after my around this time where I went for the gambit, the rare gambit from my side. But I mean, he was a bit better. He was never winning. Anyway, that was my slow game of the evening. it wasn't even that slow a game because yeah, we were done in like hour and a half. Uh, yeah.